Thanks for coming. First day of the show. Looking forward to talking to everyone here tonight. How many people here, just by show of hands, are customers versus partners? Is everyone AWS customer here? Okay. All right, cool. So we'll definitely make this customer focused. So automation. It's not about Gen AI. It could be about Gen AI someday, but it's basically about how we automate for our customers when they're engaging our partners, whether that partner is an ISV partner or even an SI partner. So you might have a go-to systems integrator, or you might be, have an in-house shop that does your automation for cloud. But the goal of AWS Built-in is really to get the building blocks to cloud right, and then to automate for the customer. So you look at the McKinsey quote down below. A lot of that is about how do you drive efficiency in cloud? It's all about what you do in the beginning of your cloud journey. So it's in the world of AWS Built-in, it's a better together story. So AWS ultimately wants our customers to be as secure as possible, and to do that, a couple of things have to happen. We want to be able to help you secure your cloud using our native security services. We also want you to help find partners that can help you do that. So sometimes it's hard to navigate, right? So we have a lot of things to do that with Marketplace, and there's a lot of automation out there. But helping you find the right partner is something that we want to do with Built-in. So our partners co-build with us, and then that code is then validated by AWS. So it's not just code that goes gets built and then is not validated. It's a continuous validation process with Built-in. And the goal is to make it simple for you to just drive efficiency. So let's say if you went to one of our partners like Sumo Logic or CrowdStrike or even Wiz, you would have all those integration points literally done the very next day. So when we talk to partners about AWS Built-in, a lot of times we'll say, we automate your deployment guide. So if you take someone like a SIM solution, and that SIM solution wants you to, let's say, have guard duty enabled, and VPC flow logs enabled, and org level trail, our automation template for Built-in will do that in, let's say, half a day. So now the next day, when you're looking at your SIM solution, it's completely populated and you're making sense out of that dashboard. This is a quote from one of our SI partners that's in the program. And what this partner does is they will actually leverage built-in code for customers. So sometimes customers want to take a self-service approach, and sometimes customers engage one of our SI partners. Here's a few of the partners we have right now. So this is a list that's growing, and there's obviously in the industry today, there's lots of changes happening, companies buying other companies and so forth. But each Built-in is unique to the customer's environment, and it's also unique based on that ISV partner software. The good news is, if you're a customer, you don't really have to worry about that. When you're a customer, you could either self-deploy that code in your environment, or you can engage the ISV or an SI partner to help you. With that, Kishore, standing next to me, he's going to tell you how the Built-in is built. So go ahead, Kishore.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Anthony. Hey everyone, can you hear me okay? Yeah. So I'm a solution architect focused on the build part of AWS Built-in solutions. So I was talking about the build-in part of AWS Built-in, which involves building and maintaining a validation engine that ensures all the solutions that are being built are consistently validated before they are made available to the customers, right? So if you are a techie like me, you might be wondering, what are these solutions, how they are built, and most importantly, what measures are we taking to ensure these solutions are validated in a way that maintains a high standard in terms of security as well as the best practices, right? So So as Anthony pointed out earlier, we worked with, we spoke to several customers, and one thing we understood is like, yeah, they are using the third-party softwares to leverage or to extend AWS service capabilities. So this includes like collecting like the trails that, be it the events that AWS CloudTrail provides, or findings that GuardDuty or Security Hub provides. Partners build additional capabilities on top of it to provide these additional insights that customers require to address their specific business use cases. And this is where we, and when a customer has to do this, like basically they had to do a bunch of, enable some of the AWS services, and then they have some partner configuration that they need to do. So while doing this, partners either tend to redirect customer to available AWS documentation or provide their own documentation. Or some partners went ahead and created infrastructure as a code templates that can be leveraged to do these deployments. So one challenge we see with these templates is basically like, yeah, they may not necessarily always stay with AWS guidelines, which derived from working with several customers operating at various different scales. And then also, like, even if these templates are built, like they may not always iterated with the features that AWS continuously adds on top of it, right? So this is where we partnered with AWS Partners, identified like, yeah, some of these tasks, and we provide a modular code for some of the AWS services, right? So if the partner need to enable some AWS services like CloudTrail or GuardDuty, they can leverage the code that we provide, and on top of that, they focus on just the partner logic that they need to add, right? So it could be as simple as adding an IAM role, or it could be additional API calls that a partner need to do in order to make that integration functional. So once both these AWS services and the partner products are packaged together, what we consider as the AWS built-in solution, there is an automated validation that goes in, right? So I'll talk more in detail about how we do this validation, but basically this will ensure like the solutions that are built are well architected. They follow the guidelines that AWS provides, and also do not have any security vulnerabilities and whatnot, right? So that's, once these are validated, that's when the publishing happens. So the publishing phase is when basically makes these assets available to the end customers. So it be it like having it in a GitHub repository or making it available through AWS Marketplace and whatnot. So we talked about the overall process, but now let's look into what is how is this built and validated, right? So when we initially engage with an ISV partner, so we identify the customer use cases and make sure like this is the solution that is important for the customers, and scope down what needs to be built as a part of the built-in. And once it is in there, like we in the sense AWS create a couple of resources for them, right? One is a GitHub repository that is hosted by AWS, and then also we have a multi-account environment that we have it associated for that particular repository. So this test environment would be identical to what a typical customer environment would be with a multi-account environment and whatnot. And once this GitHub repository made available to the builders, in this case, ideally from the ISV partners, co-build with AWS folks in this, they group together the package similar to what I mentioned earlier, identifying the AWS services and then the partner integrations, group them as an ABI package, and submit as a GitHub repository. And we have a bot, automated bot that checks into the PRs and triggers these additional scanning at the part, right? So the scanning that happens here are basically looking into the templates that gets generated. It look into any known vulnerabilities, or it looks into the best practices, and these internal tests are basically the standard tests that are across the board for any solutions within AWS. So we leverage the same engine. And if you were part of the session this morning with Chris, Chris was talking about the security guardians. So we do leverage the same process here to ensure these are validated. And part of the static test is where we configure specifically for AWS Built-in, identify these are the things that we wanted to enforce on every AWS Built-in. We'll put it in static test, right? And then once this gets passed, then the AWS solution architect will review the test results and then trigger the functional test, right? And the functional test is the piece where the actual action happens, right? So it is going to deploy these templates into the environment in a different ways. So as a part of the built-in solution, we define in the functional test, what are the permutations that it needs to be tested with, what are the options that a customer would typically use in their environment, and have that validated as a part of it. Right? And once the functional tests are completed, the bot will give an auto approval, and then there is a second manual approval, right? So I mentioned about there is an automated piece, but there is some manual piece as well here, right? So this is to make sure we maintain the hygiene of the code as well as learn from what we find from these findings, right? So our goal is to iterate as much as possible into the automation. So this is an important piece where we need to have some balance between automation and manual. But it's a heavy automated, but there is a manual touch where we'll review the codes and see if there are any missing pieces and reiterate on updating the code and whatnot, right? So once both approvals are in place is when the publishing phase happens, right? So this is basically where the code is merged and made available to the public. So until this point, the validations are completed, it is totally masked, right? Part of this publishing, it can go beyond GitHub repository, make it available in the marketplace as well, and this is basically what we have as a complete validation, right? So one with the automation not only with the new solutions, every PR that comes in has to go through the same process, right? So in case of a new solution, there will be a separate Guardian review and stuff like that we do to make sure the architecture is validated. But the later PRs will be cherry-picked depending on what kind of change it happens there. So once the publishing happens, I was mentioning about the ways customers could use it. So as far as the customers are concerned, so there are multiple options here, right? So one, we have partners who have built an offering within the marketplace. So customers can directly search the product, find this built-in solution from the marketplace. So here, Lacework have a separate listing in the marketplace that calls out the built-in, which basically a customer can directly subscribe from here and launch the template and complete their flow, right? And then there are the other partner solutions which are all available through the marketplace web link. It has the information, each of the listing here has an information related to the deployment guide as well as the code repository that's made available. So for customers, they can pick it from either places. And then we have a few partners Monty Cloud, and we also have Trend Micro who have done this, have a direct integration into their console, right? So it's basically if a customer choose to turn on any of these services directly from the console, they directly leverage the AWS built-in code in the backend. So yeah, with that, let me pass it on to Anthony for wrapping it up. Yeah.
Oh, thank you all for coming. Just some of the key takeaways. Hope you learned about some of the effort that we put into building the built-in. It is a true co-build between the partner and AWS. We're also working more and more with SI partners that realize the value of built-in. So if you want to learn more about that, we are at the Security Partner Solutions booth. That's booth right behind you. That's 1427. Also, if you want to find built-in partners, you can just Google AWS built-in and it'll come up in our marketplace. You can find our customers, or you can just scan this QR code and you can find them there as well. So thank you all for coming.